Okay, now we're going to talk about something. It's a French word. And I don't speak French, by the way.
I dig it.
I looked it up, but I'm still going to murder it.
All right.
I apologize.
Let's hear it.
It looks like coupe d'oeil, but the way you actually say it is coup d'oeil. Okay, so coup d'oeil, and it's actually used quite a bit, so I had to like run a couple rehearsals on it.
How do you spell it?
C-O-U-P, which I knew that one, right? Coup, sure. Right? There's a coup, and then D''O-E-I-L. Coup d'oeil. And sometimes they say it like coup d'oeil, but I like that some people put a little on the end of it. I like that because it made it a little bit more distinct. Sure. So that's what I'm doing.
Okay. And
what that means, it translates directly, I believe, to stroke of the eye, and what it means is like a quick glance.
Okay.
Coup d'oeil.
Yeah.
So you just take a quick glance at something and you understand it. Think about the power of this. Mm-hmm. The coup d'oeil of a general is the talent which great men have of conceiving in a moment all the advantages of the terrain and the use that they can make of it with their army. When you are accustomed to the size of your army, you soon form your coup d'oeil with reference to it, and habit teaches you the ground that you can occupy with a certain number of troops. So what he's saying there is you got to practice. You got to practice. You got to practice, and that's what makes you good at it. You start to be able to size things up, right? You start to look at situations, and the more you get put in those situations, the better you can size them up. Think about when you first started as a bouncer. Right? When you first started as a bouncer and you'd look at something and you might think, oh, what's this guy going to do? And then a year, how long were you a bouncer for?
7 years.
Okay. So by like the 6th year, you're looking at a situation like, okay, I can see that guy's I got to get that guy out of here. Yeah. You just get better at your job. Yeah. Your coup d'oeil. Your way of just looking at things and assessing them gets sharper.
Yep.
That's very important.
Sure. It is very important.
Oh, speaking of which, back to the book. The coup d'oeil is of great importance on 2 occasions. The first is when you encounter the enemy on your march and are obliged to choose ground on which to fight instantly. As I have remarked, with a single square mile, 100 different orders of battle can be formed. This is why you rehearse it. This is also why you think. You think about when you're patrolling, you're looking around at the terrain. And you're going, okay, if we get contacted from over there, we can go in this direction. If we get contacted from over there, we can get covered behind this berm or go behind this building. Mm-hmm. If you're thinking about that, even when you go into, you go into a restaurant and you're like, okay, where are the exits? Mm-hmm. That's exactly what you're doing. Where are the exits? If someone comes in the front, here's what I'm going to do. If someone comes in the back, here's what I'm going to do. You just do a quick assessment. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. Little coup d'oeil. The clever general perceives the advantages of terrain instantly. He gains advantage from the slightest hillock, from a tiny marsh. He advances or withdraws a wing to gain superiority. He strengthens either his left or his right, moves ahead to the rear, and profits from the merest bagatelles. Had to look that word up, by the way.
Mm-hmm. What is it? Bagatelle.
Bagatelles. It's something of little value. So what he's saying is, if you're good, you look at even like a little bagatelle, just something that's kind of meaningless, and you can take advantage of it. Yeah. If you think about in jiu-jitsu, if you're good at jiu-jitsu and a guy moves his arm just a little bit, like I always say like across the center of their chest.
Yes.
If they do that, that's only an inch, right? To be like, here I'm okay, here I'm not okay. Yeah. When you're good, you can take advantage of that.
That's a good example, by the way. I liked it.
Yeah. Throw a little jiu-jitsu at Echo, make you happy. It makes me happy too. Back to the book. The coup d'oeil is required of the general when the enemy is found in position and must be attacked. Whoever has the best coup d'oeil will perceive at first glance the weak spot of the enemy and attack him there. The latter is a result of experience. And you can only get experience through 2 things, training or actual experience. Mm-hmm. Talked about that at the muster.
Yes.
Like if you want to be good, you can get good through experience, or you can get good through training. Now there's some things that only experience will give you, but you can really make up a lot of ground just from training.
Yeah. Like how you say good, like realistic training.
Oh, it's
right?
got to be
That's
realistic.
the key.
Yeah. That's what separates the old martial arts
Yes.
from the new martial arts.
Sure it does.
Is the experience was close. The experience didn't used to be close to a real fight.
Oh, the training.
Yeah. The old training experience wasn't close to a real fight.
Yes.
It was like kata. And remember those old things where it's like, well, when I hit you here, it's going to cause this reaction 100%.
Yeah. That's like part of the practice.
Part of the practice.
The guy has to bend over.
Hey,
because he
let me
punched him.
teach you the reactions that you will have.
Yeah.
That's total garbage.
Yeah, and actually,
total garbage.
that's a good way to kind of a good way to evaluate when someone's like, okay, this is how you deal with this attacker or whatever situation, and then they demonstrate it, and then it takes a big involvement from the attacker person, in the demonstration. It's like, whoa, that might not happen.
That might not happen. I remember there was people teaching me that if you hit someone in the neck with like a karate chop, straight up, they were teaching me this. If you hit someone in the neck, it's gonna knock them out. That's what they were saying.
And that was part of it.
That was part of the whole thing. Hey, if you get him here, boom, you hit him in the neck. And I was young. And I didn't even know jiu-jitsu at the time. But I've been in a lot of fights when I was a kid.
Yeah.
We were in the streets.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think that's actually going to work.
Yeah.
Do it to me. And the dude's karate chopping me in the neck. And it didn't do anything. I mean, does it give you a little flash? I mean, it gives you a little tiny. But he's trying to knock me out now because I'm calling him out, right? So he's giving it all he's
going
got.
for it.
Yeah.
Oh, dang. Yep.
Yeah. So they're debunked.
Yeah.
Debunked real quick.
You know those ones where what was it in the front here?
Yeah, no, it was right.
It's
like right, like the right side of the neck, man. Side of the neck. That's gonna knock you out. He told me.
Yeah, you know those ones where it could be the same thing, where they do it. It's like a karate chop or something, and they hit you, but it's a little bit in the front of your neck. And I always see it. I've never seen it in real life. Well, they do it and they hit you right there, and the guy knocks out.
That's not true, bro.
It's so that doesn't work.
So not true.
Yeah, okay. I've never seen it in real
Every once
life.
in a while, Joe Rogan's posts something that's like fake martial arts, and
those are slapstick, though.
Yeah, I know, but he's like, I could literally post these all day long because there's so many of them out there.
I know, bro, and they're kind of funny.
Yeah, it's weird though when you start talking about how when jiu-jitsu first came around and people had been training in whatever traditional martial art for 20 years.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like a white belt or a blue belt in jiu-jitsu would come and wrap them up. Now, I will say this. If I trained some traditional martial art, and it's 1986, and you and I get in a fight, and you don't know anything, you're going to be in trouble. Because I at least know how to throw a punch.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Well, I mean, there's advantages to hitting mitts, like hitting mitts,
sure.
because it's like you throw a punch,
yeah.
you know how it feels to land a punch, that spatial kind of awareness.
Accurate.
Yeah.
You learn how to develop power.
Oh,
if we're talking about boxing, that's a whole different story because that's a real martial art. And if you watch people train, they're going to get knocked out sometimes.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So,
but even like a karate situation, like a guy who'll kick a bag, like that guy does know how to kick you. By the way,
and there's some forms of karate. What is it? There's some forms of karate that are legit, and they get after it. That's what GSP's background was originally in.
Oh, Kyoshin.
Kyoshin. Yeah, Kyoshin. Yeah,
that is rough.
No, it's rough. Yeah. No head strikes though.
No head strikes,
which is kind of a bummer.
Yeah, I mean, I think
it's like, hey, I'm gonna grab your gi, and kick the crap out of your legs now.
Yeah, and punch you in the
punch you in the chest.
That's tough though, man.
Yeah, no, it's well, let's say this. It's a little bit closer to real, right? Yeah. So it's a little bit closer to real. That's why it has some effectiveness.
Yeah.
The more closer you are to real, the more effective something is. And that's the way it goes.
Yes, sir.